Welcome to the Sachsenring. It's the 9th edition of After the Flag, and once again we are here in the baking heat. What's going on with the weather so far in 2018? It's been absolutely brilliant. I'm here with, as always, with Matt Burton, Simon Crafar to talk you through what's just happened today. And guess what? It's happened again. Marc Marquez has taken his 9th MotoGP victory from his 9th pole position. Matt, he's teased us all again, and he's ended up on the top step.
Yeah, we thought the others might have a bit of a chance of beating him here this weekend, didn't we, Steve? But the only two times he's been top of the standings was in qualifying yesterday to take that 9th successive pole position, and then it was another emphatic victory, wasn't it, from him in the race. We thought time management was always going to be so crucial. We weren't surprised that he chose the hard front tyre. That's what Marc tends to favour. We were surprised that he went for the soft rear tyre. It was always going to be crucial, that management of that soft rear tyre over the race distance. He actually said, and interestingly in the press conference, that he went for the soft because at times, or at certain parts of the lap, he thought actually the medium was softer than the soft. So he thought the better of the two options, the lesser of two evils, if you like, was going to be the soft. He managed it brilliantly. He didn't get the greatest of starts. He came through pretty comfortably on Petrucci and Lorenzo. He got a sense that that Rossi was still piling the pressure on behind him. That was absolutely right. Laps 20, 21 and 22, that was it. That's when he got the hammer down, the decisive 3 laps. In the end, it looked quite a comfortable victory, but a vital win for him. The king of the Sachsenring, he's still on that throne. And he's, again, 46 points cleared of the 46 in the championship. He's the man to beat.
He certainly is. And Simon, we talked about at the start, it was always going to be difficult to know exactly how long the tyres were going to last. But Marc really had it in the back of his mind. It was a slightly slower pace than we thought.
Matt pretty much summed it up perfectly. Marc managed that race perfectly, didn't he? You know, he did what he had to do in those first 10 laps, and then once it got to exactly 10 laps and he saw Rossi having a go, he just put the hammer down. He had a little bit more left than everyone else. It was class.
Staying with you for a moment, Simon, we have to talk about second place. I think everybody was expecting it to be Marc with Lorenzo and Dovi maybe in there. Not many people had Rossi down as the man. He always sprinkles some magic on a Sunday, but after what happened on Friday, I'll hold my hands up, even I didn't expect him to charge.
Aside from Marc, for me, Valley's ride was ride of the day, because he was there in the beginning, but he was also there at the end, the whole way through. I think he did an amazing job. And for me, where does he get his hunger, his drive, because this is serious level motorbike racing, you've got to be fully committed, and at 39, he still is.
Yeah, Matt, we seem to be underestimating him. I don't know why we keep on doing it, because he delivers time and time again.
You can never write off the old warrior, can you, Valentino Rossi? 17th he was on FP2 on Friday. Long odds in him being on the podium then. I think he actually owes Jonas Folger a couple of beers as well. Of course, he said he watched the videos, studied intimately the race from last year when Jonas Folger on the Yamaha, the Sachsenring not a circuit that the Yamaha strictly goes well at. He had watched and studied that video a lot of Jonas Folger. He would have had access to Folger's data as well, just to see where he could perhaps get close to Marc Marquez. As he said, he rode the perfect race. It was his best result of the season, and he said his best race because he did not make a single mistake. I suppose his closest goal was when he almost got tagged on the straight by Jorge Lorenzo, but apart from that, it was nerveless, it was flawless and faultless, and a vital 20 points for Valentino. Keeps him on the coattails of Marc, but from a fair distance, it's got to be said.
It seems that way, doesn't it? You mentioned Jorge Lorenzo and the Ducatis. Well, they were the guys we were expecting to be there. Jorge was there at the start. He dropped away, and Dovi just never really appeared.
You said it exactly. I really thought Lorenzo even had a chance to win here if he played it right. If Marc, you know what I'm saying. I think, I'm guessing here, but I think he chose the wrong tyres, basically, especially front, because he did what he normally did, made the start, and it just plummeted, didn't it? When those tyres went, it was all over. He couldn't even hold it together. And about Dovi was there where I expected him to be about quarter of the way through the race, and I thought, here he comes, and he never came.
That was the big surprise, wasn't it, Dovi, especially after what he did in FP4?
Well, there was a lot of money going on Andrea Dovizioso to be fighting for the podium, Steve, probably fighting Marc for the win. He sounded very confident on Saturday afternoon. He was brilliant in FP4. He was running mid-121s, low 121s for fun. We thought he is definitely going to be in the game, coming from that second row. But as Simon said, right from the start, he just did not get going at all. Lost 2 places on the first lap. Ended the first lap 7th, ended the race 7th. He just did not make any inroads whatsoever. And I agree with Simon wholeheartedly. I think Lorenzo, he put that soft front tyre in because he thought that was his only chance to maybe make that break at the front and manage the race late on when the soft tyre, the front tyre was dropping away. But as you can see, he ran out of grip about mid-race, front and rear. It was a bad day at the office for Lorenzo, but a bad day for Ducati. Certainly for the factory team, not for a couple of the others on the old Desmos Adichis.
No, let's talk about third and fourth then. Maverick Vinales taking third away from Danilo Petrucci. I understand there's been a few tears down in Parc Ferme with Danilo. So unfortunate to just lose out to Maverick, who was actually quite disappointed when he spoke to you in Parc Ferme.
Yeah, I did get to speak to him both on the grid and at Parc Ferme, and we brought up on the grid about him being so strong at the end of the race, and he was. I think, I mean, it's clear, if he can sort out that first half of the race, he's going to be a threat like he was beginning of last year. But at the moment, they haven't figured it out, have they?
No, they certainly haven't. Danilo Petrucci finishes fourth then, and you mentioned the other satellite Ducati. We've got to bring up Alvaro Bautista. He's in a really good run of form at the moment, and he's riding for his place on the grid. It doesn't look like it's going to be here.
Steve, right now he's riding as good as I've seen him ride for a long, long time. It looks, unfortunately, like it's all a little bit too late. He's quite clearly out there trying to prove a point. He's saying, hey guys, I was in line for that Petronas Yamaha new satellite team for next year. It looks like he's been overlooked in terms of that ride for next year for Fabio Quartararo, and he's out there just saying, you guys have made a bad call, you made a mistake, you should have hired me. I'm the experienced guy, your go-to guy to get you some results while you're building that new project up. It looks like, to all intents and purposes, he's got to go to World Superbikes next year. They are now, him and his management are going to start making big plays, talking to what rides are left in World Superbikes, but based on what we saw from Alvaro out here this weekend, it's a real crying shame that he's not going to run the grid next year, because he's riding as good as I've seen him for 2 or 3 years.
We can't close the show here without talking about Dani Pedrosa. Of course, at the start of the weekend, Simon, he announced that he will be retiring. It's a sad story, and it's going to be rather surprising to look at the grid next year without the 26 there.
But you say sad, Steve, but yeah, sure, when we went to the press conference and he's saying he's leaving, it was sad. But I think for the championship, sorry Danny, but it's good. If Danny doesn't fully want to be here, it's so good if you can move on out and there's some young guys get a chance, because I know how important that chance is. You know, you get it's only a few people get the opportunity of riding in this class, and when you do, it's something special, and we're going to see someone get that opportunity.
What about you, Matt? I'm sure you're sad.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure and privilege and honour for me to have been here for every single one of Danny's 18 years in the World Championship. All good stories have to come to an ending, don't we? I mean, Dani Pedrosa has been a fantastic servant, not only for HRC, but a brilliant ambassador for the MotoGP World Championship. He's been, let's not beat around the bush, Steve, he's going to be regarded as the greatest rider, the best rider that never was able to win that Premier Class World Championship. I just hope that Danny bows out in some style. You know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm not biased at all, but I just hope that he gets a real fairy tale farewell and there's just one more win left in Dani Pedrosa before we get to Valencia at the end of the season.
Well, that's it from us here in Germany. Thanks very much for joining us. Marc Marquez dominating then at the halfway point of the season. We're off on holiday. We'll see you in Brno. Marc Marquez, there was a gap, he's up the inside. Brilliantly done, Marquez leads. Over the hill, and he's done it again. Number 9 for Marc Marquez here at the Sachsenring. A 46-point lead into the summer break.
Ah!